But we're going to go and go to Rivers State. But this time we're not talking about the issue of the APC and their issues. We're talking about national issues this time because yesterday, or a few days ago, the weekend, I should say, Chief Emeka Anyoko led the group they call the Patriots, some distinguished Nigerians, and made a proposal to the president that, look, to move the country forward, there are a few things you need to do. And one of the things they are proposing is for the president to send a bill to the National Assembly to constitute a, what they call constituent, like a conference, constituent conference, some constituent assembly conference for different states of the federation, picking like 3 people from different states to be part of that, and then to send another. That same legislation should capture the fact that we should include a referendum in our constitution, which is not in our constitution, so that whatever those people in the constituent assembly decide, yes, that's the name I was looking for, constituent assembly, when they make a decision, for instance, they want to look at the constitution and literally redraft the constitution, give us a new constitution. So if there's a referendum, they present it before the Nigerian people will vote with the referendum to accept or reject whatever is proposed as a draft constitution to become a new law. It's a very complex conversation. But the president has said, look, I hear you, not a problem yet, but right now my priority is the economy. Maybe later on, but it looks like his body language is saying we may look at this in the future. One of the persons that was in that meeting is a human rights and civil rights activist, Niger Delta activist, as well as a member of the Patriots. Madam Ankyo Briggs joins us from Port Harcourt, Verso. Madam, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
I'm almost tempted to drag you into Rivers politics, but I'll stay away and stay with the issues why I invited you in the first place. You were in the room with the president, and maybe you can give us a better perspective as to what you saw as the body language of the president when Chief Emeka Anyoko and yourself and the rest made this proposal to him that this document we're working with called our Constitution, as great as it is, it has some fault and we need to correct it. Tell us what played out.
I'm talking about body language of the president. I mean, the president could not have had any other body language but the one of understanding and knowing what we were saying to him. The president is, he has said it over and over again, and Nigerians do know it and accept it, that he was part of of NADECO. He was part of the people, therefore, that were insisting and calling for a change of government from the military rule to the to civilian rule at that time. And what that then means is that he cannot deny that we Nigerians did not write the 1999 Constitution that is in operation now, because we didn't write it, and he knows it. Now, he's a seasoned activist, agitator for democracy, for federalism, because that was what he was doing with his comrades in during the Abacha era. So his body language, we have nothing to say that made us uncomfortable about his body language. He did say that he has heard us, and that he is going to, for now, his focus is the economy, and that the Patriots are a group of persons in Nigeria that he cannot ignore. Therefore, if from our view, for instance, if he is concentrating on the economy, which is a necessary concentration as far as we are concerned, that the economy must change the way it is now. It is not moving Nigeria forward. It is actually moving us backward. If you look at the pains Nigerians are going through right now, and the pains of our economy, and the pains of the value of our naira against the dollar or against the pound or any other international currency. So we're not uncomfortable whatsoever with the president's reaction to us. We will continue as patriots We will continue with our program to sensitize Nigerians and to also push for the president to actually concentrate on the economy, as he says,
right,
and also concentrate on a new constitution, because without that new constitution, the economy of Nigeria is hardly going to change for the better, because there are a lot of things in the constitution that is holding down the economy of Nigeria, from security to and food insecurity to if you like, the generator of the money that Nigeria is using. And by that I mean the goose that lay the golden egg, and by that I mean oil and gas.
All right, madam. So a few things here. So I listened carefully to Chief Anyoko, and he talked about the plurality of our Nigerian state. I'm giving an example as to the fact that Yugoslavia, I think Slovakia, I think Sudan, wouldn't manage that plurality properly, disintegrated after a couple of years. And it said Canada and India, for instance, did a great job in reflecting that plurality. So the argument has always been on the part that besides the affirmative plebiscites we saw in 1963 that created the Midwest region from the Western region, the argument is that we never were on the table as to how we want to live and exist together. So my question would be, what exactly is this constitution that we're operating with, called the amended 1999 constitution, missing that this intends to fix?
The fact that the opening statement of that constitution, at the as you flip it over, even before you flip it, actually, calling it the Nigerian constitution is a fallacy. Now, flipping it over and going to say we the people is the second fallacy. And so you cannot build anything on falsehood. We the people didn't write it. So just that alone is more than enough, where Nigerians must have and take the opportunity to write a new constitution. There is a lot of things like when you come to where the constitution says, and I'm talking from the experience and the position, if you like, of the Niger Delta people, because all of us, when we sit down to discuss this, are going to discuss from the platform of who we are, where we're coming from, your state of origin, your ethnic nationality, and not by politics. So if we look at it just from there alone, already we have a lot to say in the Constitution. We do not agree that the Constitution is right in saying that the resources in the Niger Delta belongs to Nigeria as a whole, where you have gold is not belonging to Nigeria, so it's not shared as a resource, as a formula. If you look at the new solid mineral that the states who own them have already signed with Chinese explorers and miners, which is lithium. Lithium is quite an expensive resource right now, and it's not being brought to the table. And yet, people are cutting away, we are told, bars of gold, and lithium is going to be explored and exploited. And for now, we have not seen anything to indicate that it's going to go into the table, on top of the table where the sharing is made. So just talking as a Niger Delta person, then we need a new constitution. And I am sure people from the Middle Belt, people from the Southwest and Northeast and North Central will have their own position to take. That's why it is very critical at this time that we have a president who understands restructuring, who knows what restructuring means, who was a fighter for justice and equity in Nigeria, which restructuring is one of the demands, and the fact that people should be able to cater for themselves within their region or their state and their state what they produce in their state. That's just one aspect of why we believe in the Niger Delta. that we should have a new constitution. But I can't speak for another state, and I can't speak for another ethnic nationality.
All right, so apparently I can hear you loud and clear in terms of resource control, but of course the proposal has to do with constituent assembly. We don't know what the modalities will be at the end of the day, whether it's going to be demographic assembly as well, because young people, there's a model that young people are using now to make their voices heard, and even the Nigerian state is finding it difficult to manage that kind of approach, which is faceless, leaderless kind of advocacy against what they are not comfortable with. And because the older generation are used to people coming in front and leading protests and all of that. So my next question will have to be, as far as this is concerned, some people are saying is a constitutional change in constitution, a new constitution, the solution to our problem, or we should actually look deep into leadership crisis that we have?
Well, leadership crisis is there. But you see, the leaders that we have, even if in all their sincerity, if there is, in all their sincerity, that they want to make some changes, like restructuring Nigeria, for instance, you can't even take a step towards restructuring without actually going in to do something about to amending the Constitution, for you to have that space. And so that's why we are saying that the Constitution is restricting the people of Nigeria to be able to exercise the rights of democracy and the rights of people to make their choices. One example I would want to give will be, for instance, the INEC, the Independent National Electoral Body. Now, they are there to make sure that our votes count. But what we have seen over and over again is INEC's personal involvement, depending on who is the chairman of INEC, involvement in elections and calling results that they cannot prove without falsehood, that actually this is the true voting pattern that the people took. The next position is the position of the judiciary. The judiciary has now, some of the judiciary, I must add, because I also have family members that are lawyers. And so when you look at the judiciary, it seems to me that the judiciary has become, if you like, the final sayer of who won an election, even if looking at it and getting the facts on the table, you cannot truly put your hand on your chest and say that the result INEC had called at any place is the true result of what the people said. So it takes us back to the Constitution, which means that we have to change the Constitution that has given INEC all these powers and that ignores when INEC goes wrong. It's all in the Constitution. Right. And therefore, we must have a new Constitution. And the way that it is going to be done, you mentioned that earlier, is that we have called on the president to send a bill to the National Assembly. And we have also mapped out just one area, which does not mean we cannot, or that the government cannot, or other Nigerians cannot add to it, which is to say that it should be represented by people of the state and the ethnic nationalities within those states and their background in whatever they are doing.
Madam, thank you. Apparently, this is an ongoing conversation, and I'm sure the Patriots will visit again and again to make sure this is reflected as much as possible. We are all looking for a better country. We must thank you and your group for being at the vanguard of this. Human, civil, and Niger Delta activist and member of the Patriot, Madam Ankyo Briggs. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a good day.